5 things that I wish I knew before I went to boot camps. Number 1, you want to make sure if you want to get promoted and being promoted for doing a good job at a specific job as to RPOC, AROC, PO, whatever, you take a role that your RDCs, your recruit division commanders, they are paying specific attention to. The more attention that they give you in that specific job, the more likely you are to be able to get promoted at the end of boot camp. They're not going to give the promotion to someone with a job that's not very important. The most important things in boot camp, they are going to make sure it's done right. They're going to make sure that they put their time and effort into developing that specific recruit to the standard that they want. And by the end, if they have the results they want, they will give that person a promotion. Number 2, your experience in boot camp will strictly depend on your RDC. So my RDC, they were pretty nice, lenient. Some RDCs, recruit division commanders, who make a point to even curse you out, to make you cry. There are other RDCs who emphasize more on physical punishments. So number 3, run outside. I'll give you an example. When I was in boot camp, before I joined, I just strictly did treadmill. I went to boot camp into Freedom Hall, which is the gym facility, and what I quickly realized is running on a track compared to running on a treadmill is completely different. When you are in a track field with 200 other people, it gets hot very quick, and how you run on that flat surface is very, very different. So you want to make sure that you run outside as much as you can. So number 4, depth test. One of the things that when I first met my recruiter and I had my start guide is my recruiter looked at the start guide and said, all right, only know this, this, and this, don't worry about these, this, and this. Right? So when I went to take the depth test, I looked at it and I recognized all the things that my recruiter told me to study, but there was a lot more that my recruiter said don't worry about was on the test. Right? So know everything on the start guide. Every bits and pieces of the start guide is in the depth test. Alright, and the depth test is 2 parts. Number 1, the test, the written exam where you study the start guide. The second part to it is the physical fitness assessment. Your first PFA depends on that, right? So you may be able to pass the written portion, but if you don't pass the physical portion, you don't get promoted, right? And vice versa. If you fail the written portion, but you pass the physical portion, you still don't get promoted. Alright, it doesn't work that way. So you want to make sure that you are physically in standard. Number 5, bring your cell phone and your wallet. Before I left for boot camp, I left all my belongings at home. And what I noticed was all the way through other recruits, they were just talking on the phone with their parents for the last time before they get to call back home in a month. And then when you get into boot camp, when you get into the facility, you still get to call your parents for the last time, and then you send everything back home, your clothes you're wearing, and your cell phone back home. If you want to bring your wallet, because at the end of boot camp you do have the option to purchase pictures. Now pictures, they are about $300, so they are pretty expensive. So you need your credit or debit card.